Hello, hi dear students. Today in this video we will discuss the remaining part of the poem The Tiger, written by William Blake. We have completed 3 stanzas of this poem, that is up to lines 12. In those lines, or in the beginning of the poem, you have come to know that the poet William Blake, who was influenced greatly by the French Revolution, has here written this poem on the tiger. He has also written a poem on the lamb as well. But the lamb and the tiger, both the animals are very different from each other. So, here we can also understand that William Blake, who wrote about the lamb, the animal which is very meek and humble, symbol of humbleness and kindness as well, and lovingness, pleasant, is also writing about the tiger, which is the symbol of fears, danger, and risk. So, in this poem, William Blake has raised questions. This poem is very much filled with William Blake's or the poet's rhetorical questions. That is, the questions which have their answers itself. So, he asks the questions that who had created this terrible or dangerous animal? What immortal hand, what immortal mind? All these questions he raises. That is, he also answers himself that this animal, the tiger, has been created by the immortal hand. This creation is by the God himself. The God has created this fearful animal. But he wonders how the God has created such an animal, because God has also created the lamb. So how we can hope, how we can assume that the God or the creator who created lamb might have also created the tiger, such a fearful animal on this earth. So such kind of the questions have been raised by William Blake in this poem. And he also says that the tiger has been created by God himself, and it was the daring resistance of the creator that he could stood before this creation and filled such a fire in the eyes of the tiger. So this is what we have seen up to 12 lines that we have read in our last video lecture. Now let's go with the new lines of this poem. We will try to understand them. So let's go with the lines 13 to 16, that is the 4th stanza of this poem. What the hammer, what the chain, in what furnace was thy brain? What the anvil, what dread grasp, dare its deadly terrors clasp? So again we have the series of questions. So the whole poem is filled with or full of the rhetoric questions. So in these lines, in this 4th stanza, the poet now is praising the brain of the tiger, raising the questions. The poet is also raising the question, but raising the question through the questions, he is appreciating the brain of the tiger. Such is the brain of the tiger, and he astonished at how this brain was made by the god himself. And from where? From in what furnace? So he wonders which hammer, Hatoda, which hammer God might have used, or which chain the God might have used, anvil and furnace as well. Furnace means where the fire is to be put. So he wonders at what hammer, which chain, which anvil, which furnace the creator would have used to create the brain of the tiger. Because the brain of the tiger is no doubt wonderful and at par in the world. No other animal has that kind of the such powerful brain as the tiger has. So the poet is wondering here upon the creator how he could create such a brain. What kind of the hammer? Earlier he was talking what kind of the hands and what kind of other thing. Here he is wondering upon the weapon, upon the hammer, upon the anvil, upon the chain, and as well as upon the furnace. Furnace means आग की जो भट्टी होती है उसको furnace कहते हैं. So what kind of that he has used to create such a brain of the tiger. So these are the tools. So poet asks what kind of these tools God has used to create such a brain. So, and these tools, we know that all these tools are used by the iron smith to create solid and heavy items, we know, because hammer is also used by that, chain as well, furnace as well, so anvil as well. These all are the tools of the iron smith. And here the poet is in fact comparing the god with the iron smith, because iron smith also using these tools makes a thing so heavy, so solid. In the same way, God has also made the brain of the tiger very solid and hard and heavy. He says that the brain of the tiger is no less than iron. So it is just like an iron. So he thinks about the divine tools. So he calls all these tools, the hammer, anvil, chains and furnace, all these tools, that these are not the earthly tools. In fact, these are the divine tools which God might have used to create the brain of such a deadly animal. What the anvil? What dread grasp dare its deadly terror clasp? So he wonders, the poet is wondering how powerful would the grasp of the creator which could hold the deadly brain of this animal. So it was really something very, very creative and something which is wondering, something which is powerful that the God here has created. So this is about this stanza. Now come to the next stanza, that is fifth stanza of this poem, lines 17 to 20. I recite. When the stars threw down their spears and watered heaven with their tears, Did he smile his work to see? Did he who made the lamb make thee? So here the line that we have discussed in our last video also, as well as here, that did he who made the lamb make thee? That is, the poet is wondering at the creation of the God, at the creator who has created, who has made, who has developed lamb as well as this tiger. So no one can believe that a creator like God could have created the tiger who created the lamb as well, because both of the animals are entirely contrary to each other. They are different to each other. Their nature is different, their figure is different, their creation is different, their looking is different. So everything is different. Lamb is the symbol of humbleness and love, whereas the tiger is the symbol of danger, fearful, dreadful, and everyone would like to dislike the tiger. Everyone would fear of him. So let's see these lines. In this stanza, the poet tends to compare this deadly animal to the lamb, which is meek and innocent. Lamb is innocent, quite opposite to the former, different, contrary. In addition, there is also a reference to a biblical incident as mentioned in Paradise Lost, written by John Milton. Because the poet says that when God created the tiger, the stars, here means Satan and his followers, when the stars threw down their spears and watered heaven with their tears. So stars means here the Satan and his crew and his followers, which were mentioned in the Paradise Lost, written by John Milton. They also threw down their spears, means their weapons. They surrendered before the God when they saw this fearful and dangerous animal, the tiger, before them. So they surrendered before the God. They feared of this animal. They were in fact in war with God, and they were so frightened looking at the sight of the tiger that they accepted their defeat, and they threw down their weapons and made the sky wet with their tears. That is, they began to weep. They surrendered themselves, and it seemed as if the heaven is filled with their tears. Heaven has been watered with their tears because of the frighten, because of the fear that they saw at the sight of the tiger which was created by God. So here we have this biblical reference to the Paradise Lost. You know very well that Satan and his followers challenged the Almighty, the God, the supremacy of God, the power of Almighty, and they started a war against the God. Satan wanted to get the throne of the heaven, whereas God has proclaimed to give the throne of heaven to his son. So these followers of Satan and he himself, they opposed the God's decision, and therefore they were hurled into the hell, where they remained confused, totally unconscious for many long years. And when they came out from the unconsciousness, and they started the planning to start or to fight a war against God in another way. Then God created the tiger, and looking at the tiger, seeing the tiger, these followers of Satan and Satan himself threw down their weapons, surrendered themselves before God, and in this way the sky was filled with their tears. So, this is what we have in these lines. Now, dear students, we have the last four lines, that is the last stanza of this poem. And this stanza is just the repeat of the first stanza that we have. Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forest of the night, what immortal hand or eye dare frame thy fearful symmetry? So that same stanza here has been repeated in the last by the poet in this poem. So this is the repetition of the first one. And here the only word changing word that we have here is the dare instead of could. In the first stanza we have could frame thy fearful symmetry, and here we have the word dare frame, that is God or the immortal hand or the eye, who could dare to create such a fearful body of this animal. So in the first stanza the poet seems to be less amazed by the powers of the tiger and God, but now he is amazed and astonished by the powers of tiger as well as of God, because the God was very powerful. That's why he could make, or he could create such an animal, that is tiger burning bright in the forest. The eyes of the tiger are burning in the darkness of the forest. It's shining. But after going through all these features of the tiger, the poet wonders, it's only God, no anyone else. It's only God who can dare to create such an animal. So it can only be created by God. None the other could frame, could develop, could make such an animal or such a creature. So this is the poem. Students, we have discussed so far, we have tried to understand this one, and I also hope that you must have followed my explanations of this poem, and I also hope that this explanation, this PDF explanation will definitely benefit you, and you will be benefited by this one for your understanding as well as for your questions and examinations. Dear students, I am also preparing a Google question paper, and that will be shared to you very soon, and the questions that will be there will be from the poems that we have discussed so far. I request you to attempt that question paper upon the link that I share you, and try to understand the poems that we have discussed so far. That will give me your feedback. whether you have been following or not. And that is also the part of our online teaching and learning. My focus is you, the students, not anything else. I myself is not the focus here. You are the focus of my teaching. Thank you very much. See you again. Till then, bye bye. Thank you very much.